There are a handful of clothing pieces that I never ever regret purchasing in my wardrobe. So in today's video, I want to share with you what are some things you can look for in your wardrobe to find these clothing pieces you don't regret a couple of years later. I am very specific in today's video because I think we all know that it's worthwhile purchasing good basics, but I think what we really want to know are what details to look for to ensure that we're purchasing something that will last. The thing that might surprise you throughout today's video is that the items that I wear the most and for the longest time don't look like this. Instead, it's a little curation of garments and accessories that actually have some trendier details, but they speak so well to my style words and therefore work so well over the years. Sometimes clothing pieces like this, they work for everyone, but they aren't really suited to anyone. And I want to share a few alternatives instead. The first item that I never regret purchasing are white broidery tops. This is a really big category and I'm including a couple of different styles. On the casual end, we've got these pointelle t-shirts. You can find these at a lot of places and this is kind of my classic white tee. I wear this so much more than your typical white crew neck. So this is much more of a staple in my wardrobe than that style. And then we've also got these cotton white blouses with that broidery detailing. And these are my alternative to the white shirts. There are so many different styles you can go for, but a lot of these that I own are from Cezanne. The reason I never regret purchasing these is that I realized I've been wearing this style for 10 years. My style has done a lot of changing over the last 10 years, but no matter what, I can manage to make these work. These are still the foundation of a lot of my outfits. If I can make a piece of clothing work through all of my style evolutions, then that's how I know that it's truly a staple I won't ever regret having in my wardrobe. So my recommendation for you is that you want to find this perfect balance between what is versatile and what is going to have the right details, because there are so many directions you can take, but having those details be aligned to your style words is really what is going to separate something that you might regret a couple of years down the line to something that you'll hold on to for years and years and years until the piece falls apart. In my wardrobe, when this balance between versatility and detail is off, I never keep those items. If the ruffles are too big, if the lace patterns are too exaggerated, it's not versatile enough, and I often declutter these. If the item has detail, but the details don't speak to my style words, these also often get decluttered, and I regret them as well. So having that perfect balance here is what is going to keep something in your wardrobe for a long time. Something I never regret purchasing for my wardrobe are colorful handbags, and specifically I want to talk about green. So this is the classic case where I knew that I loved green bags and I had one when I was 18. At 18, I only had 2 bags in my collection. I had a green one and a black. And I was wearing these two on pretty much equal rotation. But then I tried to fit into that very minimalist capsule wardrobe style. And I ended up selling that bag for something neutral that I never wore. I think a green bag works so well with my style because most of my clothing is neutral or it's earth tone or in that very autumnal color palette. And because of that, green is the perfect color to complement with almost everything I own. And this is something that not every style guide will tell you, but it really is something that I had to figure out for myself and for my own style and how I like to dress. So in your wardrobe, don't feel like it has to be black, has to be brown. It can definitely be for that classic look, but if your style doesn't fall within that and you don't love those bags, then I highly recommend checking out other colors, whether that is a green or, you know, maybe a burgundy, something that works with the main color palette of your wardrobe, and that is going to go so much further than forcing yourself to love a neutral that you don't actually love. I think a lot of today's video is me showing you alternatives of what can be really classic, but it doesn't mean that this is the option for you. It really does take planning for your own wardrobe, your own style, to make sure that you're gonna hold on to something for as long as I plan on holding on to green bags. The next clothing item that I never regret would be a pair of wide leg trousers that are either made from silk or very fluid material. A couple of years ago, everyone thought this would be a trend and something that would just die out really quickly. But I'm looking at photos of 7 to 8 years ago, and even then, I feel like wide leg trousers and culottes were definitely a thing. So I used to have these black silk culottes and I still think that I will wear them today, but the only thing is that I do think that they're a bit short, and today I'll go for something a bit longer. This wide leg silhouette though, I have reached for pretty consistently in the last 10 years. In my wardrobe, I really love these Petite Studios pants. They're very fluid, they're very draped, so it just feels so flattering no matter what top I'm wearing. Especially if I'm wearing something like a boxier t-shirt or a bulkier sweater. This is the perfect thing to balance that out and make it feel really cozy but still stylish. Any kind of wide leg fluid trouser, fluid being the key word here, I get along with so well. If you're going to add a pair of wide leg trousers you'll wear for years and years to come, there is a fine line between what I think is classic and timeless and what is trendy. The moment that it gets really wide or really structured, I no longer find it that versatile and it goes into trendy. Whereas when it's just a little bit wider, when it's more flowy, it is so much more wearable and it sits more on the side of timeless. At least in the way that I see it. So keep this in mind, it's not every wide leg trouser that will be this versatile. It's really about finding that shape that doesn't border into too trendy and just too statement. The next item is such a specific item, but I have to talk about this one because of how consistent it's been in my wardrobe. I am talking about the Uniqlo t-shirt. So 10 years ago, I was 18 and Uniqlo opened up in Sydney. And one of the first things I bought was that Uniqlo U t-shirt in this orangey tangerine color. I love this t-shirt. I wore it so much. Fast forward 10 years, I have tried countless brands, countless t-shirts, and the ones that I buy for myself are still Uniqlo t-shirts. I still recommend the Uniqlo U t-shirts I was wearing then. They're still great options, but they're a little bit thicker, a little bit bulkier, and nowadays I prefer something a bit lighter or a bit more cropped. The one I'm wearing today from Uniqlo is the Airism oversized t-shirt. And then I also love the Airism crop t-shirts, as well as the regular mini t-shirts. There are so many styles, but the three I'm showing here are probably some of my favorites right now. I get so annoyed whenever I buy a nicer t-shirt and the neckline loses its shape after a few washes. That is insane to me because the Uniqlo ones almost never do that, and they hold the neckline shape so well. The next clothing piece I never seem to regret or even to declutter are skorts. And this one I was unsure whether I should share because I haven't been wearing them as much, maybe in the last 2 to 3 years, but I was wearing this from like 18 to 23 almost every day. So I feel like the reason I stopped wearing them is simply because I couldn't find them in stores. Whereas now they've become trendy again, I'm seeing so many options pop up. So I've been kind of reunited with this style. You might be thinking, why the skort? So the reason for me is that I love something very mini or very long. I don't like a silhouette where it's kind of in between. I do like that very mini look, but I don't feel comfortable in a mini skirt. It's not for me. So a skort kind of allows me to wear something a bit shorter, but still feel very secure in it. The other thing is that skorts tend to be a little bit more sleek in the silhouette. It doesn't have that much volume, which I like. It looks a bit more sleek and less feminine than your traditional mini skirt that often flares out and is a bit more A-line. So the shape of skorts I usually really like as well. So when it comes to skorts in my collection, I have one from Sandro. This is a navy one I purchased I think last year. This is more of a transitional or winter material. It's a little bit thicker. And I love wearing it with black tights and then like a long coat. The other skort I love is this one from Dish. This is a linen skort and it's so flattering. However, I don't even know if I recommend this piece to you guys because the first time you wash it, it will basically shrink a little and it's just not a sign of great quality. So if you really love it, I would take one full size up and keep in mind that you want it looser before that wash. I will be on the lookout for better skorts because these are honestly one of the most versatile things for the summer in my wardrobe. And if I'm not wearing a long skirt, I think that I'll be wearing a skort. Something that deserves a quick mention is the cropped cardigan, and I discovered this through Cezanne. So I started wearing cardigans when I purchased my first cardigan from Cezanne, and I wore that thing all the time, and then I started expanding my cardigan collection, and now there are so many, but I don't regret these because I can always find some way to wear them. I especially love something more cropped because it goes over midi skirts and dresses really well while keeping like my proportions. And then I also like cotton and merino options. It can be 100% cotton, 100% merino, or some blend, but this is probably my favorite fabrication. The ones that have that mohair and that alpaca, sometimes I love it, other times I'll find it a bit scratchy, so it's a bit hit and miss, but cotton merino is always timeless. I have also purchased that very fancy cardigan from Baba, and I ended up selling that one because it was so oversized. I was completely drowning in that one size item, and honestly, I found that wool it was high quality, I can tell, but it's just a bit too, I think, raw for me. Raw meaning scratchy, so I didn't end up getting along that well. I also knit a lot, and cardigans are one of my favorite things to knit, so I'm building up a little collection there as well. Most jewelry purchases I've made I don't regret because they often tend to be bigger purchases that I thought a lot about. But something that is especially true is that I never regret larger hoop earrings. My very first pair, I was 18, 19. They were gold plated over brass, and I had that for a good 5 years until it started to look, you know, a little bit rough. But a good 5 years, I wore those earrings probably 3 times a week minimum, and I was obsessed. I don't suggest anyone look through my old Instagram for inspiration. I hate the outfits, but in all of the outfits I was wearing, I had on these like large hoop earrings, and I think that they made the look. When those earrings tarnished, that's when I started building up my hoop collection today. So these ones are from Majuri. I've got these hoops also from Majuri, and these are some of my most worn for every day. I've got these ones from Pamela Card. So these are gold plated over silver, and I'm obsessed with these as well. And then my other pairs, this very statement Majuri pair that I wear all the time. Gold hoop earrings are some of the most versatile items I own, because even this morning I went out in sweatpants and I had like a old sweatshirt on, and I had this like raincoat over the top. It's not chic on my morning walks. And I had on these pair of gold earrings, and I did feel very put together because of them. I don't always put them on for my walk. I just knew I was filming today, so I had them on already. And they really made that outfit so much nicer. If I'm going from gym to brunch or something like that, and I want to quickly elevate my look, it's always gold chunky earrings. I've only got one pair of shoes to share with you today, and there's only one style of shoe that has carried through in my wardrobe for 10 years. When I was 18, my most worn shoe was this pull-on Chelsea boots. So it had elastic panels on the side, it had a 5cm or 2-inch heel, and this is still the exact specification of my most worn shoes right now. I'm talking about my Baird footwear black boots. They're sadly no longer available, but 2-inch heel, pull-on style, is still the ultimate staple boot in my collection. The soles on my shoes are definitely wearing out, so I'm gonna bring them to a cobbler this week to get them fixed. But I love these shoes so much because I can walk all day in them, but they still give me a really good height and a little bit of lift on the leg. I've gone for a lower heel, I've gone for zip styles, I've gone for ones with small differences, but ultimately I never like those as much as this exact style I'm talking about. It could be an almond toe or pointed. I'm actually not so fussed on the toe shape as I am on the heel height and the pull-on comfortable style. Honestly, in today's video, I'm as much sharing with you as I am reflecting on it myself. But another piece that has stood the test of time in my wardrobe is the oversized blazer. This is similar to the wide leg pants, where everyone thought this would be just a trendy moment, but I think it's been around for long enough to be somewhat of a staple. I had an Everlane oversized blazer, and I had this when I was about, I think, 19 or 20. That was my work blazer, and I eventually lost it at work as well. And I worked at a hotel at that time, so if you lose something, you're never finding it again. Can't remember if I repurchased it or if I just ended up getting this one a little bit later. Either way, I haven't been without an oversized blazer, and maybe I don't wear this every day anymore because I'm not working in like a more corporate environment, but I do reach for this often enough for it to be a classic. Right now, I love wearing it with like skorts and shorter things on the inside with tights. And then of course, you know, with different skirts, you can't go wrong. When it comes to looking for a blazer, I honestly feel like lifestyle is key, because if you work in an office every day, something more tailored is going to look so much more chic. But for me, because I don't work in an office, I will never have the time to wear a tailored blazer that looks very formal. Whereas something slouchy and more draped is going to suit me when I'm wearing it very casually, and it's also going to be a bit more chic for evening when I pair it with different things in my wardrobe. So it's really about finding the blazer that will suit your lifestyle, because it can make such a big difference. I wear this all the time, but I will never wear something tailored. And then back then, when I was working in a corporate office, I would have never worn something like this because it's way too casual for my workplace. I am being so specific in today's video because we kind of all know that we need good basics, good bags, good shoes that last, but it's really about how you find these that I think is what we want to know. So the final piece I never regret purchasing is a floral dress with a red accent. I have always loved floral pieces that have a pop of red in them. And when I was 18-19, there were polyester options from ASOS that looked something like this. This is so pretty, and I wore this constantly. And then once this wore out, I then had this skirt, and it had like a red floral pattern on it, and this was the worst quality skirt I have ever owned in my life. And it was actually not even from like a fast fashion brand, it was just terrible quality, where both the seams were ripping and the fabric was peeling, and I think it shrunk as well. It was a disaster. And obviously since then, I'm so much more aware of quality, and I have a couple of dresses with a red accent or just like red in general that I still love wearing, and this is truly a pattern that has been so consistent over the years, as you can see. I don't think I'm ever without a floral dress with a pop of red, and I don't think I would ever let this one go because it's just my favorite type of floral. Whether it's on a black base or a white base, it doesn't matter to me, as long as you have that very vibrant red in the print. That was my edit of clothing pieces that I never regret purchasing, and I would love to know what yours are. So share with me down below. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it and would like to see more, subscribe to my channel for weekly content. I share so many videos like this one, and I'll see you next week. Bye.